Since the Foo Fighters of World War II, the skies have been crowded, not by enemies, but by others. In 1947, the wreckage at Roswell changed the world. What was recovered wasn't a weather balloon, it was a craft that didn't fly, it manipulated space-time. The cover-up began that night. A black veil dropped over the most significant event in human history to protect the status quo. Project Blue Book was the public's sedative. Led by J. Allen Hynek, its goal wasn't to find the truth, but to debunk it. They blamed swamp gas, temperature inversions, and weather balloons for 12,000 cases. While the public laughed at little green men, the real data was being siphoned into Project Blue Fly, a secret recovery team that operated in the dead of night. In 1953, the CIA convened a panel to address the UFO problem. Their conclusion wasn't that UFOs weren't real, but that they were a threat to national stability. They ordered a mass media campaign to strip the subject of its dignity. By using ridicule as a weapon, they ensured that any pilot or scientist who saw a craft would remain silent to save their career. They aren't a Hollywood myth. Dressed in ill-fitting dark suits with sallow skin and robotic speech, these agents visit witnesses within hours of a sighting. They don't use badges. They use intimidation. Their goal is to confiscate photos and erase memories. They are the janitors of the secret state, cleaning up the physical evidence before the news can break. Commercial and military pilots see UAPs daily, but under JANAP 146, reporting a UFO is a breach of national security. Pilots are told that it didn't happen. Those who persist face psychological evaluations or grounded wings. This creates a culture of silence in the cockpit, ensuring that the people most likely to see the truth are the ones most afraid to speak it. The recovered craft aren't just sitting in hangars. They are being dissected. At S4 near Area 51, physicists like Bob Lazar claim to have worked on gravity propulsion systems. We didn't invent the transistor or the integrated circuit. We harvested them. The cover-up isn't just about hiding aliens. It's about monopolizing the technology that would end the oil economy. The 1947 National Security Act created the CIA and the framework for top-secret classifications. It essentially legalized the lie. Under the guise of national defense, the government can withhold any information regarding UFOs indefinitely. This legal shield allows them to build a breakaway civilization using tax dollars, while the taxpayers are kept in the dark. From Gordon Cooper to Edgar Mitchell, those who have left the atmosphere have spoken out. They describe craft pacing their capsules and structures on the moon. Yet, NASA's live feeds often cut to technical difficulties the moment an anomaly appears. The heroes of space are treated as eccentric or confused the moment they deviate from the official script. In 1994, police in Ohio chased a glowing object that manipulated radar and moved at impossible speeds. Despite dozens of recorded police dispatches, the official report claimed it was the planet Venus. This Venus excuse is a classic gaslighting technique, used whenever multiple law enforcement witnesses make the cover-up difficult to maintain with simple denials. In 1997, a miles-wide craft drifted over Phoenix, Arizona. Thousands saw it. The governor ridiculed it by bringing out a staffer in an alien costume. Years later, he admitted he saw it too, and it was otherworldly. The mockery was a tactical PSI-op, to defuse a mass sighting that the military couldn't explain or shoot down. In 2017, the NY Times leaked the Tic Tac footage from the USS Nimitz. The Navy admitted the objects were unidentified, but even this disclosure is a controlled drip. They admit the existence of the objects but refuse to discuss the origin. It's a way to move the goalposts, keeping the public focused on threats rather than the reality of interstellar visitors. John Greenwald has spent decades filing FOIA requests, uncovering thousands of pages of redacted UFO documents. These papers show that the FBI and CIA were obsessed with UFOs while publicly claiming they were a joke. The Black Vault proves that the government has a dual reality, one for the public and one for the internal intelligence community. In 1967, at Malmstrom AFB, a glowing orange disk hovered over a missile silo. Seconds later, 10 nuclear missiles were disabled. The craft didn't fire a shot. It simply turned them off. This event, kept secret for decades, proves that the visitors are interested in our nuclear capabilities. The cover-up exists because the military cannot admit they are powerless to stop them. Known as Britain's Roswell, U.S. airmen in the UK encountered a metallic craft in the woods in 1980. They touched it and received binary codes. The aftermath involved confiscated Geiger counters and forced silence. The cover-up spanned 2 nations, showing that the secret is an international treaty that supersedes local sovereignty and law. When UFOs are caught on radar, the official response is always sensor malfunction. This allows the military to ignore the data without lying about what they saw. By blaming the equipment, they avoid having to identify the pilot. But modern sensors are too precise for these glitches to happen as often as they do, revealing a pattern of intentional obfuscation. Whistleblowers claim alien craft don't have joysticks or buttons. They are controlled by mind link. The government has spent billions trying to replicate this sci-tech. This is the real black Project Secret, that consciousness is the engine of the universe. Admitting this would destroy the materialist foundation of our modern society and its religions. The Pentagon has failed multiple audits, with trillions of dollars unaccounted for. Independent researchers believe this. Money is fueling the UFO industrial complex. The cover-up is a financial black hole, where the wealth of a nation is siphoned into underground bases and off-world projects that the public will never benefit from or even see. A hotspot of high strangeness in Utah was bought by a billionaire and later studied by the Pentagon's AATIP program. They found portals, dire wolves, and craft. The government closed the study but kept the data. This site proves that UFOs aren't just nuts and bolts ships. They are part of a larger, multidimensional reality that the state wants to own. SpaceX and NASA satellites frequently capture UAPs leaving and entering Earth's atmosphere. These frames are cleaned by AI before being released. Sometimes, however, a raw frame leaks, showing triangular craft near the International Space Station. These leaks are quickly dismissed as ice crystals or lens flares by the official social media handlers. The government doesn't just hide the truth, they pollute it. They fund fake conspiracy theorists to spread absurd stories, making the entire field look insane. By mixing 10% truth with 90% lies, they ensure that the real evidence is buried under a mountain of nonsense. This poisoning of the well is the most effective way to keep the public from looking too closely. Thousands of people claim to have been taken. While some may be psychological, many have physical implants or radiation burns. Mink. The government classifies these victims as mentally ill to avoid having to admit that they cannot protect their citizens from external forces. The cover-up is a betrayal of the social contract between the state and the people. Whenever a crashed object is reported by a civilian, a hazardous materials team arrives within the hour. They cordon off the area, seize all phones, and replace the object with a terrestrial substitute. This rapid response capability shows that the government isn't surprised by UFOs. They are tracking them in real time and have a playbook for every scenario. The church has a prefect of the secret archives who oversees records of celestial events going back centuries. It is rumored they have a modern UFO desk. The cover-up isn't just political, it's spiritual. Admitting that we are not the only children of God would destabilize the power structures that have ruled the human mind for 2,000 years. In the 1980s, documents surfaced detailing a secret committee of 12 men who managed the UFO secret since Truman. While many call them fakes, they contain details that were later verified. Whether the papers are real or a leaked warning, they describe a shadow government that operates with zero oversight, making decisions that affect the entire planet. If a tech company stumbles upon a gravity-defying invention, the Patent Office can issue a secrecy order under the 1951 Invention Secrecy Act. The invention is seized for national security and the inventor is silenced. This ensures that no private UFO tech ever hits the market, keeping the world dependent on the energy sources controlled by the elite. Recently, the government has started calling UAPs drones from China or Russia. This is a brilliant new cover. By framing them as enemy tech, they can increase military spending while avoiding the alien question. It's a way to keep the secret in the nuts and bolts world of human conflict, rather than admitting we are being visited by a higher intelligence. Secret space tracking systems are not looking for asteroids. They are looking for entries. The Solar Warden program is allegedly a secret fleet that monitors our solar system. This is why Space Force was created, not as a new idea, but as a public front for a military presence that has been in space since the 1970s. Hiding behind the cover of the Cold War. Crashed UFOs often contain occupants. These biological entities are taken to Wright-Patterson AFB. They are not dissected like in movies. They are studied for their genetic resilience and telepathic biology. The cover-up includes the disappearance of any nurse or doctor who was present at these high-security arrivals, leaving behind a trail of retired lives. UFOs are often USOs, unidentified submerged objects. They are seen entering the ocean at high speeds without a splash. Sonar data from the Navy shows these objects moving faster than torpedoes at great depths. The cover-up is deepest here, as the ocean floor is the perfect place to hide a base away from the prying eyes of civilian satellites and telescopes. We are currently in the limited disclosure phase. By releasing small, confusing clips, the government tests the public's reaction. They want to move the truth into the unknown category without admitting to the 70 years of lies, murders, and tech theft. It is a strategic retreat, designed to maintain their authority while the secret becomes too big to keep. Just as with the moon landing, original UFO files from the 40s and 50s are missing. They weren't lost. They were moved to private aerospace companies like Lockheed Martin. By moving the evidence to a private entity, they are shielded from Freedom of Information Act requests. The corporatization of the secret is the ultimate wall between the people and the truth. Some researchers believe that Havana syndrome is actually a side effect of being near UAP propulsion systems or directed energy tech derived from them. The government's confusion about the illness is a cover-up for the fact that their own reverse-engineered weapons are causing biological damage to their agents. The secret is literally making people sick. When a civilian telescope or radar picks up a UFO, the data is often washed by service providers who have contracts with the government. This digital filtering ensures that the average person only sees what they are allowed to see. We live in a curated reality, where the software in our pockets is programmed to ignore the anomalies in our skies. One day, the cover-up will fail. A mass arrival event will happen that no swamp gas or drone excuse can fix. The government will then claim they just found out to avoid accountability for the decades of deception. They will position themselves as our protectors, against a threat they've known and perhaps worked with for nearly a century. The truth about UFOs isn't just about ships. It's about who we are. The cover-up is the last wall of a dying age. As the disclosure continues, we realize that we are part of a galactic community. The ships in the sky are mirrors, and the secret was never their existence, but our own potential to join them. The veil is thin, and the morning is finally coming.